So when we rest in the state of pure awareness, what we are doing is we are giving ourselves unconditional love. That's what the state really is. Because if you think about it, it never changes, unlike the things of this world. And even our thoughts and feelings, which are always changing, the state of pure awareness, it remains untouched by any of it. And it's always there for you. You can always access it at any moment, no matter what you're going through. And so in that sense, it's completely unconditional. It doesn't depend on your mood or your relationship status or the amount of money in your bank account. It's just always there. And it just never changes. And it never judges you either. It doesn't care about your history. It doesn't care about all the breakdowns that you've had or your concerns about the future. It's just here looking at you in the pure perfection that you actually are. Like it doesn't see any sense of lack. In fact, in the state, lack is impossible. And so to access the state, it's really simple, and it just really depends on whatever resonates most with you. And so you could simply ask yourself at any given time, am I aware? Or I like to say, especially when I see myself or find myself getting immersed in a condition or immersed in a particular narrative that's running through my head, I'll simply say, and this is from reality transurfing, I see myself, I see my reality. And that immediately allows me to go back to the divine center and into that resting place where I realize that I am bigger than any particular story or condition or thought or feeling. And there's just a sense of spaciousness. That's the best way I could describe it. And I've noticed that because before, when I would sit in the state of pure awareness, I was almost kind of impatient. Like I would just be like, okay, well, that was nice. I do it for a few seconds and I'd just be eager to get on to the next thing. But I would find that the longer that you sit in that space, it actually starts to expand. It's kind of like a slinky, and you just keep stretching it out farther and farther. And as you do, it's just a sense of spaciousness and freedom because you realize that you're no longer just this little me with all your problems and all your thoughts and concerns, and that you're more than just a bundle of thoughts and feelings and stories, and even the things that you consider to be your strengths, like you're more than that as well. Because even if we start to define ourselves by our strengths, even that can be limiting in a certain way. And so we just rest in the state of pure unlimitedness, of pure expansion and freedom. And from there, it's like life just becomes like this open canvas, like a blank template, and then we can paint anything on top of it. And we can see then, because I used to think also that being in the state, what people would refer to as pure awareness, or other names people might like to refer to it maybe as enlightenment, and I personally don't consider it as enlightenment, but yeah, some people like to call it that. And so when I would hear people talk about all these concepts, I would think it sounded very boring and just very cold and just devoid of any sense of emotion. But it's really not that at all. It's quite the opposite. What I found is that emotions actually become expressions, or yeah, like artistic expressions. And instead of just being, before we might have just kind of labeled, dumped them into buckets of this is preferable and this is unpreferable. But yeah, now it's all like they're just experiences and just these beautiful expressions. And I was reminded of this recently because I've just been watching a lot of movies lately, just because it's something that I enjoyed. It used to be a big part of my life and something that I really enjoyed doing. And then for some reason, I just stopped. I guess I just thought I needed to be doing something more practical. But I love just kind of just playing around in these different, becoming immersed in these different worlds. and just the full spectrum. And I like comedies, like people might consider really dumb comedies, like things with Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell. I saw the movie Old School, which I know is like an old movie, but I saw it for the first time. It just came on TV the other night. It was hilarious. And then recently I started watching these movies on TCM, on Turner Classic Movies. And so I rewatched A Streetcar Named Desire, and then I saw Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf for the first time. Incredible performance by Elizabeth Taylor, and super intense. And it would seem like these movies would be like on the opposite end of the spectrum, but the fact that such a spectrum exists, I think, is so beautiful. And I think we can start to see our own lives in that way too, as everything that we're going through, even if it does seem painful, that it can just be a beautiful expression. And yeah, so it's like the pure awareness. I see it as being, yeah, like a slinky is the best way I can describe it. The slinky of a sparkling unconditional love that's just like stretched over everything. It's this isness. And then everything contained within the isness, all the thoughts and feelings and experiences, and the cats and the dogs and the food and everything that we encounter within this isness is just like an expression of God. And it's an expression of that divine perfection. And we can start to really just see all of it in its beauty. And yeah, the other day I was walking the dog, and it was super windy, and there were these leaves that were just rippling through the wind. And yeah, there was just something super magical about the whole experience, and just the sound of the wind. And yeah, everything can be like a divine experience. You don't have to go to the top of Mount Everest or, to some mountaintop in the Himalayas, although that would be wonderful. You don't have to do that to experience it. It's available for you in every moment. And so thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.